Well, that's it. We're live now on Facebook and we're here in the Zoom platform. I'm going to be sharing my screen, and what we're going to be working on is a mimic of the 2019 ability test paper. That's the first thing that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at 20 questions from the actual 2019 ability test paper. We're going to also look at giving students some resources for preparing for the ability test. I know a lot of people are somewhat lacking of resources, and they're unable to prepare fully for the mental ability test, specifically because they don't have the resources. So I'm going to go through some of those resources today, and we should be well on our way for the ability test come February 23rd, which is right around the corner. All right, so let's jump into the preparation. I'm going to be opening up a document, and this is the mimic of the Pep Ability Test for 2019. We're also going to have a question and answer section where you'll be able to unmute your microphones and have a conversation with me as to some of the challenges you're having preparing for the examination, and particularly how I can assist. I'm waiting for my computer to respond. Give me a second, please. Ability test. We're going to also look at some of the questions that I personally have created, ability test questions that I have created. And then we'll take some answers from some of the students who are in the meeting. All right, so let's go ahead. Still waiting for my computer to respond. I'm only able to bring up one of the ability tests so far, and that's not necessarily the one that I'm interested in. Bear with me, please. I'm also trying not to open as much things on my laptop because I don't want it to start freezing. Still waiting on my computer to respond. For those who are just joining, again, my name is Miss Boyne. And what we're going to be looking at today is the PEP mental ability preparation. We're going to look at an actual 20 questions from the actual past paper. We're going to be looking at some materials that I have created where ability test is concerned. And we're also going to be looking at some resources that will be valuable to students preparing for the ability test examination. All right, so the desired thing I wanted to open is not opening for some reason. I'm gonna move into whatever is opening right now, and that is I see the chats coming in, the messages in the chat. I'm not able to read at the moment. I will have a section where I'm going to be reading the chat, and I'm going to be taking questions from the chat. All right, so we're going, and you're seeing on the screen, this is a document from the Ministry of Education. I'm not sure how many students or parents and teachers alike were able to get this document. I'll send the document via email, or you can email me to get these documents and the other documents. That some of the documents I'm not going to be able to share specifically because of copywriting issues, but I'll share as much information as I'm able to share. Also, I'm just letting you know this is the first of many ability test preparations for the month of January going into February. I'm a private tutor and I offer these services at a cost. However, because of the COVID pandemic, I'm seeing where a lot of students, I can just only assume that they would not have been able to be prepared by the teachers or parents specifically just because of what is going on. So I'm using my initiative to provide the support to students free of cost. If you're on my WhatsApp, if you're on the Facebook, Instagram, you'll see where we'll be posting about the next ability test preparation. I encourage everyone to join as much of these sessions as possible because you'll be learning so much information, other information that are not privy otherwise. So we're scrolling down there. I hope everybody is seeing my screen. We're scrolling to the, I'm gonna stop the screen share for a minute and I'm gonna yes, let's go ahead sharing. I think I passed it. All right, so we're on the 20, this is the actual paper for the Pep Ability, Mental Ability Test 2019. All right, so we're there at ability test. I'm gonna be zooming in so it's clear to everyone. And that's the first question on the PEP Mental Ability Test. And as I said, this is the actual paper for 2019. And I'll be sharing a link in the chat where you're able to download this paper, as well as I'll be sharing my email so others can download, or sorry, send an email to me to request other ability test materials. All right, let's get into it. So for number one, or let's read the instructions. It's always good to read the instructions. It says, for items 1 and 2, select the word that best completes each statement. Number 1, smoke is to fire as cloud is to. I'm going to ask someone, I think it's more effective when we do some interactive participation. So I'm gonna ask someone who is in the meeting, you can go ahead and unmute your microphone. I'll acknowledge the person. Once the person is acknowledged, they can go ahead and unmute the microphone and provide the answer. Jade's World, who's Jade's World? What's your name? Do you want to go ahead right now and unmute your microphone? Well, is not responding. Jezreel has started to respond.
Hi, Miss.
Not hearing anything at the moment. Jade's World.
Hi, Miss.
Your microphone is unmuted, but I'm not hearing anything at the moment. Does anyone else want to go? How about Samantha Prendergast? Does that person want to go ahead and provide the answer for number 1? I'm going to take one other person and then I'll provide the answer. I'm not sure what is happening. Kemoya?
Yes, Miss.
All right. All right, somebody's responding in the chat. So apparently, I'm being heard, but I'm not hearing anyone. I'm gonna sort out the issue shortly. All right. For this part of the session, I'm not able to take a response from students specifically because I'm not hearing the audio. I'll be looking at that shortly, but in the meanwhile, I'm going to continue with the session. All right, so it says smoke is to fire as cloud is to, and we're looking at the answer here. The options are wind, heat, rain, and sun. All right, let's look at each answer in detail. Specifically, for this question, I'm going to start at the bottom. All right. How is cloud related to sun? Is cloud related to sun? Let's look at the relationship between smoke and fire first. All right, the relationship between smoke and fire is that once there's a fire, I think there's an old saying says that you cannot see smoke without fire. Okay, so once there's fire, we would assume that smoke will be coming from fire. This is a cause and effect relationship, by the way, where this is an analogy and the cause is the fire and the effect is the smoke. All right. I hope everyone understands what I was just referring to.
Yes,
So the relationship that is presented between smoke and fire is the similar relationship that you're going to use to find the answer. So we're going to look at the cause and effect again. And if cloud is the cause, what would be one of the effects? Is the effect wind? Is the effect heat? Is the effect rain? Or is the effect sun? Now, based on this relationship, we can clearly see that the answer would have been rain, because from the clouds, we would expect rain to be. So I'm seeing that in the chat. I'm seeing some persons in the chat saying rain. All right, great. And we can use up the chat in the meanwhile if we're not able to use the microphones. As I said, we're going to be taking an intermission at the 30-minute marker, and then I'd probably be able to sort out the issue that we're having with the audio. In the meantime, let's move on to number 2. And I hope everyone is following. Number 2. And for those who are just joining, again, my name is Miss Boyne. I'm what you'd call a PEP specialist, is that a word? All right, other persons are sending the answer to number 2 already, and we haven't even started. I like the enthusiasm. So good afternoon for persons who are just joining. You have not missed much, but what I wanted to remind all the participants, this is the actual 2019 paper. Next week, we'll be looking at the 2020 mental ability past paper. And we're also going to be looking at some additional materials and resources that students will find helpful to preparing for the mental ability test. All right, eager students, I'm getting to number 2. Dog is to puppies as dash is to kittens. The relationship, and this is for the ability test. A lot of students are not able to understand the ability test or to quickly answer the question simply because they don't know the making up of these questions. And that's what we're going to be looking at in our resources where I'll be going over the notes on how these questions are compiled. Students will learn the topics that each of the questions are from, and they will be better able to identify what these questions are and how to solve them in the examination. So for number 2, it's still an analogy question. However, it's a different type of relationship. This relationship is parent to offspring. Now the parent is the dog and the offspring is the puppy, or our offsprings are the puppies. So for the answer for this question, we would have to find out what is the parent to the kitten, which is the offspring. And clearly we can see that there's only one viable answer, which is cat. The cat is the parent to the offspring, which is the kitten. Let's move on to question 3. Let's read the instructions. All instructions are necessary. It doesn't matter if you're breezing over it and you're not seeing it clearly. It is always good to stop and read the instructions because each instruction is different and they help you to solve the question that you're attempting. The instruction says for items 3 and 4, select the word that is a necessary component of the word in bold type. So number 3, the word in bold type is sandwich. What is a necessary component of a sandwich? Is it tomato? Is it lettuce? Is it meat or is it bread? And I see the students already blowing up the chat. Jade's World was not able to speak orally in the chat. However, he's able to, or are you a female or a male, Jayline? I'm not sure. Jade is a sort of a unisex name. I don't want to get it wrong. I'm going to message in the chat. Female, okay. Sorry about that. All right, Jade said that the answer was bread. And that is definitely true. You can have a sandwich without tomato. You can have a sandwich without lettuce. You can have a vegan sandwich just does not have meat. However, for most sandwiches, it includes bread or some component which is starch that is holding the ingredients together. So in fact, Jade and Kemoya is they're active in the chat. That is the correct answer. For the other students, feel free to message in the chat. As I said, I'll have a section where I'm able to allow you to speak. I'm not able to do that at the moment, but I'll be looking at that issue shortly. And already Jade is on the next question. I am loving these students. They're very eager and very enthusiastic to answer the questions. Number 4, that means that you'd be doing very well in this examination. And I'm sure that in your examination coming up on February the 23rd, for the persons who did not know when the examination is, it's on February the 23rd of 2021. And as much as you're here doing the questions now, I can assure that you'll be doing the same in your examination. Let's move on to number 4. House. What is a necessary component of the house? I'm not sure every house has to have a balcony. What about the houses that doesn't have a 2-story? Every house has to have a kitchen.
Mrs. It has to be, but
not quite. It would be necessary for you to have a kitchen, yes, because you need to cook somewhere. What about if you cook in a general open space that is not classified as a kitchen?
Miss.
So therefore, it does not necessarily need to be a kitchen on the house. What about a roof? And for students that I would have tutored and we spoke about the main idea and the supporting details, you would have been accustomed to me alluding to the house being like the main part, the roof being the main part of the house, similarly to how the main idea would be the main part of the passage. So therefore, in that case, the roof would have been the answer. I'm not sure if you'd have understood clearly. Let me explain. Now the roof, I'm not sure if you've seen, sorry about that, people building a house, right? And once you're there driving past the house, up and down, people are building the house, nobody's moving in. As soon as the house has a roof on the house, that's repetition. Yes, as soon as there's a roof on the house, then people start moving in. Even if there's no windows, they button up the windows and move in. The house protects you from all the natural elements such as rain, sunshine, wind, and other things. So therefore, the house has to have a roof. A stairway, no, that's only if the house has an upstairs. So the stairway is not a necessary component. Let's move on to number. Again, we're going to read the instructions. Never ignore your instructions.
Yes, miss.
For item 5, select the word that does not belong to the group. And the chat is going off. Let's see what's going on in the chat. All right, so yes, you're also correct, the person who's using the Galaxy S6. Please show, if you're using a device where you're not showing your name, for ease of presentation where I'm able to call your names and address you properly, please just write your name before the answer so I can address you properly. Yes, and Kemoya says you can't have a house without a roof. Yes, it's definitely a roof for the question we did before. Michaela has already, and Haley has already, Dari. Somebody who is a, what is that? It's a Chinese looking, Japanese looking name. Please show your name. I'm not able to pronounce that. I don't speak Mandarin. For all the answers so far, everybody's saying television. What about the blender? Why is not the blend? Why the blender is not the odd one out? Let me see the answers coming in the chat. Why is the blender not the odd one out? Why everybody is saying television? Why is the television
Miss.
not the one that's not belonging to that group?
Miss Bowen?
Let's see if we can get some answers here in
Munchie.
the chat.
Miss.
Why is the person with the Mandarin looking name, please share your name. I want to know who you are. Says that the television does not belong. Asani. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, or Asani? The television is the one that does not belong in the group because all of the other options are kitchen appliances. Very good, very good. The microwave is a kitchen appliance. Kemoy is saying the same thing as well. The refrigerator is a kitchen appliance. And the blender is also a kitchen appliance. The only thing that's there that's not a kitchen appliance is a television. So are you saying that nobody has the television in the kitchen? I want a television in the kitchen. I'm just saying. All right, let's move to question 6. It says, read the passage carefully, then answer item 6. I'm gonna go ahead and read the passage. I might read the passage twice, depending on if I'm seeing the correct answers, but let's go. The first green monkey was brought from Africa to Barbados more than 300 years ago. Now the monkeys are in danger because of men. The monkeys often attack fruit trees and birds, so the farmers shoot them. Also, there is less and less woodland on the island because it is being cleared for building. This means it is more difficult for the green monkeys to find places to live, so they move onto farmlands. The mongooses does more damage than monkey. It was brought to the island 100 years ago to kill rats, which were damaging the sugar cane. Now the rats are under control. Please note that the word is underlined. The mongooses have started to kill other mammals, reptiles, and birds. This passage was adapted from the Language Tree Workbook 4, Macmillan Caribbean 2007. Let's look at the question. Dash means the same as under control. The options are all dead, fewer, have increased, or saved. What means the same as under control? I'm not seeing my chat going off as it was usually going off, so I'm going to start reading over the passage once more. This time I'm going to do it a little bit faster though, just for presentation purposes. The first green monkey was brought from Africa to Barbados more than 300 years ago. Now the monkeys are in danger because of men. The monkeys often attack fruit trees and birds, so the farmers shoot them. Also, there is less and less woodland on the island because it is being cleared for building. This means it is more difficult for the green monkeys to find places to live, so they move onto farmlands. The mongooses does more damage than monkeys. It was brought to the island 100 years ago to kill the rats, which are damaging the sugar cane. Now the rats are under control. The mongooses have started to kill other mammals, reptiles, and birds. Excuse me. Dash means the same as under control. All dead, fewer, have increased, saved. I'm seeing some answers in the chat now. Sorry. I'm only seeing one correct answer so far. Elizabeth, very good. All right, what does under control mean? Does it mean the same as all dead? If it's all dead, they're not necessarily under control. It means that they're extinct. There's no more of them, so they're not under control if they're all dead. Have increased. If they have increased, it's clearly not under control. Saved. Saved is not an option simply because of how it is, where it's not convenient in that setting, or it does not fit in perfectly there. So we can ignore that one. And the last option we have is fewer. Now, when it says under control, it means that there's some of them still there. However, it's not as much, or it's not as bothersome as they were before. So we can clearly say that fewer is the answer, because there would have been less mongooses. However, the mongooses are not all dead. If they're all dead, they're out of the picture altogether. They're not under control. They're gone. So they can't. So the closest answer, they are all dead and fewer. And it cannot be all dead. As I was saying, in that case, they would not have been under control. They would have been extinct or long gone. If they're under control, it means that there's less than the amount that was there, and they're not so much bothersome. So fewer is the correct answer. Yes, and I'm seeing Michaela and Kemoy alluding to the fact that yes, it's true. Richard Forsyth is in the class. Very nice. Yes, and fewer is the correct answer, Richard. All right, let's look at question 7. It says, examine the words closely, then place them in a logical sequence. Before I go to the answer, I'd like to welcome all the other students who have recently joined. Some of you know me because I have taught you on some occasions. Some students are just meeting me for the first time. Again, my name is Miss Boyne. The paper that we're looking at is the past paper from 2019, and this was the first ability test that was administered. We don't have much past papers because the ability test has only been around from 2019. Let me correct it. 2019? Yes. So this is the 2019 paper. We did another ability test last year. However, there was not a staging of the performance task, either the curriculum-based test, because of the corona pandemic. And this year, there will be the staging of the ability test, the performance task, and the curriculum-based test. And this is just the first of our live sessions with all the students across Jamaica. I'm allowing my service to be available to all the students there. You can join in. I won't be able to post the Zoom link until the actual day because we want to keep the participants limited so we can be able to interact with everyone in the meeting. However, I'll be here on Facebook Live, we'll be on live on YouTube, and you'll be able to get the information there. And again, this initiative is out of the fact that a lot of students are out of school and they're just not able to get the same amount of preparation as they would have been before. We don't have the group class where you can interact and talk. Well, the smaller schools, they're just now starting to do some face-to-face classes. However, I know that some students are still not in classes and still do not have access to adequate preparation for the mental ability examination. And as a result, every week, at least twice or 3 times per week, I'll be going live and I'll be sharing my insights and I'll be helping students across Jamaica to prepare for the mental ability question. With that said, let's jump back to the questions. Now, number 7 says, examine the words closely, then place them in a logical sequence. And I'm already seeing the answers there. I like this group of students. They're very aggressive with the answers. For every question that I'm at question 7, they're already giving me the answer for question 8. This is very good. So the words that are there are belt, leather, cow, and skin. Let's look at the first answer. Is it belt, skin, cow, and leather? Now, when it speaks about logical sequence, it has to make sense. It has to be in a specific order, and that's what sequence means. Order that makes sense, right? And that's what logical means, right? So, do we have the belt first and then the skin and then the cow and then the leather? I don't think so. What about leather, cow, skin, and belt? No, I don't think we can get leather before we get the cow. What about cow, the skin, the leather, and the belt? Let's look at that one closely. First, there is the cow, which is the producer. The cow skin is used to make leather, and then the leather is used to make belts. So I think that's the correct answer. Let's look at answer D, nonetheless, just to rule out that that was not the answer. And that's something that's very good to keep in mind, that even in your actual examination, sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and we know what the answers are. We're very confident what the answers are, and we want to rush and get the answers and move on to another question. However, even if you have already identified your answer, please look at the next option. Specifically because some options are very close and you might think you have the correct answer, but upon reviewing the next option, you realize that that's not the correct answer you had initially, and the next option is your answer. So you want to make sure that you're going through every option. With that said, we're looking at option D. And is it the skin, then the belt, then the cow, and then the leather? No.
Oh, miss.
I don't think so. I don't think you can have the skin without the belt.
No, miss.
Yes, I'm seeing all the answers in the chat, and pretty much everybody is correct. Pretty much everybody is correct. Everybody is on the same page there. Very good, everyone. Very good. Very good. Everybody has
Wakefield
question
Primary,
answer C as the option.
Jamaica School.
All right, let's look at number
Wakefield
8.
Primary,
Let's read the
Jamaica
instructions. The words in bold are from an artificial. Hold on a second, please. I'm going to be muting my microphone for a short minute.
Wakefield Primary School in St. Catherine, Jamaica.
Here's Wakefield Primary School. Welcome in,
Sorry about that. All right. The words in bold are from an artificial language. Beside each word is its meaning in English. I'm not going to pronounce that word. I'm going to spell it. HIFONSLOK. Hyphon slock. Hyphon slock means fill cup. Merslock, MERSLOCK, means blue cup. Now, I'm definitely not pronouncing this next one. I'm going to definitely be spelling ROPOKHIFON means landfill. Which word could mean fill bottle? Let's look at the options. I'm going to be spelling all of these answers. HIFONSLOCK, could that mean fill bottle? PHERROSPO, could that be the answer? PHEKLO, sorry, LS, sorry, let me start from the beginning. PHEKLOK, could that be the answer? ROSPOKLOK, could that be the answer? I'm looking at the options. I'm looking at the options there. I'm looking at, wow, there's 25 messages in the chat. Everybody is saying, wow, different answers. All right, let's look at some of the responses. So Richard Forsyth thinks the answer is C, A. Haley Francis thinks it's C.
See there?
Ari thinks it's A. Let's look at the answer. A. Majority of the answers are A. So let's look at A in more detail. It says, which word could mean fill the bottle? All right, let's look at fill cup. Fill cup is HIFONSLOK, means fill cup. And then, oh yes. So if you're looking at all the words that have fill in it, it has the HIFON. So for the first option that says fill cup, it has the HIFON at the beginning. And for the last word we're seeing with fill, that means landfill, has HIFON at the end. So therefore, the answer is A. Very good, everyone. Let's look at number 9. Now, I had expected to only do this session for an hour. I'm clearly seeing where we're 43 minutes in our session and I'm only at number 9. Obviously, I wouldn't be cutting the session shortly. I'm going to be extending the session. So we're going to be going longer than expected. I hope you can bear with me, and it's going to be here and actively participating as you were before. Let's continue on question 9. It says, yesterday I learned how to dash flour to make fried dumplings. A, need, N-E-E-D. I'm coming.
She's a.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I can call myself ruined. I should just not.
Hello?
Goodness and ice cream flavor.
What is is B. Okay.
Stop. Hello?
Yeah. Look on the corner.
My apologies.
In a one
My
box.
apologies,
A
everyone.
little bag. That's what to say.
I'm seeing some new persons in the session. Good evening, everyone. And I'm seeing the answers in the chat. I'm going through some of the answers now. I'm seeing majority of the answers I'm seeing. I'm not going to share that as yet. However, I'm going to be going through each of the options in detail. Need. So we know that we need flour. What is it? N-E-E-D? Not quite.
No, miss.
That's N-E. It's need, but it's for needing something as a necessity, which you cannot go without. It's not necessarily needing something like
Yes,
the
miss.
one to get flour. What about I'm not looking at answer B as yet? Sometimes that gives it away because why is Miss not looking at answer B? Is that the answer? I don't know.
Yes, miss.
What about bake? I learned how to bake flour to make fried dumpling. Now it says fried dumpling, it's not baked dumplings. Obviously, it wouldn't have been baked. Neither would it have been roast.
So the answer
is
Because
B.
that is the action of actually doing something with the flour. And I'm sure that you can't just bake the flour as is. You have to do something with the flour to get it into some form of mold in order to bake or roast it. And that's why we're needing the flour. So the answer, sorry, is between A and B.
No, it is B. Why are
No,
And
it's B.
everybody
Because
has
we learn how to knead
is
the
responding
flour.
B, yes. Sorry about that. Yes, B, because it is need, but it's spelled correctly. And that's the better way to represent the answer by the correct spelling. So the answer for number 9 is B.
B?
Very good, everyone.
B.
I'm sure everyone, well, I hope everyone is clear on that answer. The difference, let's just go over it one more time before we move on. The difference between A and B is that one, the need in letter A is spelled not incorrectly, but incorrect for this type of need. The correct need is K-N-E-A-D. The meaning for N-E-E-D is something that you cannot go without. That's a necessity. The meaning for K-N-E-A-D is when you're molding something to get it into another form. So that is need. All right, let's move on to question 10. Question 10 is reading. And as usual, I'm going to be reading once, and if necessary, I'm going to be reading twice. All right. And as per usual, please do not ignore your instruction. This is very crucial. Sometimes you're ignoring the instructions because obviously you've read so many instructions from we've started and you're probably tired of reading instructions and just want to read the question and get it over with. However, that's not necessarily the best approach simply because each instruction holds a different message and no two instructions apply for the same question, if you understand what I mean. It's always best to read your instructions. You might see the same instructions reoccurring, however, and you might get often tired of reading the same instructions. However, you don't know when the instructions will be a bit different or from what you've read before, so it's always good to read the instructions. Let's go into the question. Read both passages, then indicate whether each conclusion drawn is best described as true, false, or cannot tell in items 19 and 20. Now, I have already done this question with some of my other students.
When she's sharing this, we can't talk, so we have to wait, I guess.
Yes, Kemaya says that's critical thinking. Yes, Kemaya. Yes, it is critical thinking. You really have to analyze these passages and read over probably even once or twice just to get an understanding of what it's saying. All right, let's go into the passages. Passage 1, the history of pizza begins in the distant past, when various ancient cultures produced basic flatbreads with several toppings. The first pizza was probably made by Italians. Modern pizza developed in Naples, Italy, when tomatoes and toppings were added to the flatbread in the late 18th century. Passage 2. Bami is a traditional Jamaican cassava flatbread descended from the simple flatbread eaten by the Tainos,
They're trying to piss us off.
Jamaica's original inhabitants.
Or playing the music to psych us out.
Bammies have been consumed long before Columbus came to Jamaica. It is made from cassava flour. It is believed that Bami was first prepared and eaten by native Tainos or Tainos people. I think I need to read over, even without looking at the answers.
Song is like part of me, so.
The history of pizza began in the distant past when various ancient cultures produced basic flatbreads with several toppings. The first pizza was probably made by Italians. Modern pizza developed in Naples, Italy, when tomato and toppings were added to the flatbread in the late 18th century. Bami is, I'm on to passage 2. Bami is a traditional Jamaican cassava flatbread, descended from the simple flatbread eaten by the Tainos, Jamaica's original inhabitants. Bammies have been consumed long before Columbus came to Jamaica. It is made from cassava flour. It is believed that Bami was first prepared and eaten by native Tainos people. The Tainos played, I'm on to the question now. The Tainos played an important role in the development of pizza. True, false, I cannot tell. I'm still trying to figure out.
Miss, can it be true, Miss?
Same thing. Let me look in the chat and see what's going on. All right.
Miss, can it be true?
Beep, 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 a lot of beep. I thought everybody would have said cannot tell, because I almost couldn't tell. I almost could not tell. I'm not sure because both of them are speaking about flatbreads. But I'm wondering, was it, an integral part of the development of the pizza? Did they play an important role? Does it say that? I cannot tell honestly. Does it really say that? No, it does not. So I can't say it's true because it really didn't say that. But I'm between false and I cannot tell. I almost cannot tell really if the Tainos played an important role. However, because it did not say so by the source, I'm going to go ahead with false. Let me see if everybody is still on the same page. Yes, everybody is saying they did not make the pizza. Very good. I did not expect this amount of participation in the class today. I must commend every student who is there participating. Also, I did not expect this level of clarity from everyone. Everybody is on their point. I can honestly see some very good grades for the mental ability 2020 paper. As I said, upon me starting the paper, that this is the exact paper that the students got for 2020, the 2019, my apologies, the 2019 mental ability question. So this is a very good look for all the students who are participating and obviously getting so much correct answers.
Yeah, my person name again, Melissa.
Let's look at question 11. And we're only looking at 20 questions. So for students who have not started to participate, you have 10 more questions to jump in there and give me the answers. And it doesn't matter if the answer is correct. For those of you who know me, you know I'm not concerned with correct answers. What I'm concerned about is how you're getting the answers, one, and your level of participation, even if the answers are not
So the
correct.
number that comes next.
All right, let's go into question number 11. It says, select the number that comes next in the sequence of numbers below. The first term in the sequence is 6, the second term is 12, the third term is 20, the fourth term is 26, the fifth term is 34, and the sixth term is 40. What is the seventh term? Let's look at the answers.
48.
Is it 46? Is
No,
it
miss.
48? Is it 74? Is it?
Miss 48.
Please do not write on my screen. Thank you.
7,
Thank you,
8,
whoever is writing on the screen.
7, 8,
Please
7, 8,
place your
9, 10.
answers in the chat and do not write on the screen.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Great. All right. For number 46, sorry, for number 11, a lot of students are putting 46. I'm seeing a lot of 46. I'm seeing some 48. I'm not seeing any 74. Neither am I seeing 80.
27, 28, 29, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
How did that student get 46? Let's query about that now.
34.
Firstly, before even we go to the answer, let's look at what is taking place in the sequence. So it started at 6 and then it went to 12. How did it go from 6 to 12? I'm adding on 6 to 6 to get to 12. So between
Miss won't
I'm
answer
going to
your
start
name.
noting. Give me a second, please. All right, so I'm writing here. Between the 6 and the 12, we can see that clearly this is a 6. Where am I? Why are my students able to write and I am not able to write?
But I'm going to say,
I'm going to
see that
refrain from
already.
writing.
Now I need to like
I'm just
everything
gonna
already.
speak. All right. So
Never
you can
join.
clearly see that between the 6 and the 12, it's a 6. Between the 12 and the 20, and how we got a 6, we took away 6 from 12 and we got 6. So we know that between the 6 and the 12, there's a 6. Between the 12 and the 20, we can subtract 12 from 20 and we get an 8. So that's an 8 there. So firstly, we had a 6 and an 8. And then afterwards, we can subtract the 20 from the 26 and we get another 6. Now, when we subtract 26 from 34, we do not get a 6, we get an 8. Does anybody see the pattern there that's taking place? Feel free to
Miss.
give me, oh, Parissa Parks, I like it. Parissa Parks says, Miss, it is like a pattern. You add 6 at the first and then you add 8. For example, I add 6 to get 12 and subtract 26 from 20. Very good. Very good. Kemoya is asking if we can continue till 7 o'clock. Definitely, Kemoya. We can continue till tomorrow. I'm joking. I'm literally joking. But yes, we're going to be continuing until 7 because we have not gone through most of the things that I said that I was going to do. Specifically, I could have been moving through this paper faster so we could accomplish more within the 1 hour. However, I want to do it as a detailed, in-depth explanation for questions and answer. And I want by the end of this session, everyone should agree. Everybody should be on the same page and everyone should be understanding what we're doing. So I will be taking my dear diligent little time to go through this paper. As I said, this is a very crucial paper because this is the actual paper that the students got in the 2019 examination. So therefore, I'm going to be taking a little time to go over the questions. And I still want you to stick around because we have a lot of information coming out in the next half hour or the next hour of the session. And we'll be looking at resources that students can use to find questions, get notes on questions, even without resources or support from parents or teachers. This is very good insight, and I want all the students to stick around. I want you to take down. I'm going to be sharing all the links to all the websites that we'll be using in the chat, and I want you to use your initiative and I want you to go on these websites. I'm going to be maneuvering some of these websites throughout the entire session, not today entirely, but throughout our other sessions so you can see. Another student said, Miss, is this every day? I wish I could, but I'll be doing it next week. And closer towards the examination, I might go every day, just so you can get additional information. I'm here as your go-to support teacher. I'm going to be providing my email. I'm going to be providing my contact number, and I want you to reach out to me, students. I want you to reach out to me, ask me questions, send me questions via my WhatsApp or my email, and I will respond. I may take a little while to respond because I have other things doing. However, I will make it my priority to respond to every single email and every single message that I get so I can give you all the support that you're needing. All right, let's go back to the question. So, as Parisha Park says, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Yes, there is a pattern. There's the pattern 68, 68, 68. So at the end there, after you subtract 34 from 40, you will get a 6 there. So it's 68, 68, and then 6. So what will the answer be? Sorry, will it be 46 or 48? You'll be adding on an 8 to the end because previously you would have added a 6. So therefore, the answer is 48. Yes, so the answer is 48, everyone. And I know you guys are appreciative of what I'm doing, specifically because I'm seeing the interaction and I can feel as though some students want to be back in the classroom and want to be there putting up their hands at the beginning of the class and dominating the class, and that is not available. And honestly, I feel like it's a total injustice to some of the students because they would have wanted to be participating, but they're not able to do so. Online is okay, but you have to have strategies as teachers to help students to gradually ease their way into online. Before the COVID pandemic in 2019, some students have literally never been doing classes online, never to be actually in an online class. So therefore it's a far-fetched idea, and some students are not necessarily latching on to the idea, but over time and with a persistent teacher and also enthusiastic students, we will be able to bridge that gap between face-to-face learning and distant learning. Let's move into, I have to do another session where I'm just speaking to the students. This is not the session. Although for all my classes, I always try to give some form of information, whether moral or otherwise, where students are able to take something away from my session. Again, I'm going to be doing another session just for prep talking to help students to, to know that the teachers are still out there. We still have your back. We still want to give you the support. Even though it's very difficult now to provide that support, we're still there giving you support. You can see that my lighting is terrible in the background. I'm going to be moving shortly. I'm going to be moving at the end of this question where I can. All right. For number 12, let's see who's going to give me the correct answers. This is a very, as Kemoya would say, critical thinking question. Yes, this requires a lot of thinking. I want you to put on your thinking caps and let's get into this question. It says, a pattern is shown below. Look at the first 2 rows in the pattern to help you to work out the missing number in the 3rd row. So the pattern says 6, and there's an arrow to 6/7. So 6 is related to 6/7. And then 7 is related to 1. No, man, what is going on here? I'm lost. Is everybody else lost? Who is on the page? Who is on the same page as me? I'm a bit lost. I'm a bit lost. I can't see what is taking place here. And then there's 14 to a question sign. I don't know what is going on here. Let me look in the chat if there's a student that can help me to figure out what is going on here. Let's see. No, these students are too brilliant. This is not fair. Everybody's gonna get 100 in the ability test examination. I'm clearly seeing that. I thought everybody would have been baffled. No, I'm seeing correct answers from left, right, and center. This is not fair. Who are your teachers? Who are your teachers? Oh, at least Asani is giving away to say he did this yesterday. At least he's honest. All right. So did everybody do this yesterday? That's why they're giving me the correct answers.
No, miss.
Everybody is giving me the correct answer. I thought this was like the most difficult question on the paper. I was expecting
No,
students
miss.
to be baffled. They're not baffled. I'm seeing correct answers. I'm seeing a lot of correct answers. I won't go through the answers as yet in the chat, but I'll be going through the answers there on the screen. So it says A. Would A be the correct answer? Would I put 14 over 15? That's the one I'm choosing. I'm thinking that's the answer. Specifically,
No,
why would I
miss.
choose that answer? Let's go into the meat of the matter. Why I would choose that answer? Because 6 is over 7 and I'm seeing 6. 7 is the number that follows 6. So if I'm seeing 6 there and 7, then I can say that the next number that follows 14 is 15. So therefore the answer is going to be 14 over 15. Is everybody on the same page? No, I'm not seeing that in the chat. I'm not seeing that in the chat.
Yes, miss.
Everybody, the correct answer. How?
Yes.
I cannot believe this. So 14 over 15. I can see why some students would want to choose this as the correct answer, as I just said, because 7 follows 6. And if you're having 6 over 7, you might want to put 14 over 15. However, how does the 7 equal to 1? How is the 7 relating to 1? So that option would not be the correct answer simply because we can't see how the 7 would be equal to 1. Let's look at our second option. Now, when you put 6 over 7, you get a fraction 6 over 7. Clearly.
Factors over.
Now, if we think about how they got 1, how is the 1?
Factors of
How did they get the
14.
1? How did they get the 1? They put 7 over 7. And for everybody that knows, for everyone that knows, if you have a number as the numerator and the same number as the denominator, then that is a whole. Yes, that is a whole. And the whole is represented by a 1. So therefore, how they got that 1 is that they placed 7 over 7 to give you the 1. Therefore, for the answer there in where the question mark is, they would have placed the 14 over the 7. But why am I not seeing 14 over 7 as one of the answers? Let me scroll down. The last answer is 14. Why am I not seeing 14 over 7 as the answer? Oh, because 14 over 7 is the same too. Yes, because 14 divided by 7 is equal to 2. So therefore the answer is 2.
2.
Very good for all the students who replied with the correct answer. This shows a level of the extent to where you're at. I want you to continue practicing and pushing through because you're in a good space. And if you can clearly see these answers, then you should be able to do well in the examination. For letter C, C would not be the answer specifically because I don't know how we would have gotten 62 there. So that would not be the answer. And 14 itself could not be the answer. And if you have realized, what I've also done just now was to go over all the answers, even though I knew that the correct answer was B. That's something to note. All right. I'm going to be moving so I have a better lighting in my background and we can finish up questions 13 and 14 and 15, but we're going to stop at 15 for today where the questions are concerned. And then we're going to move into how you can get additional resources to help you. And we're also going to look at some other questions on those resource sites. Give me a second, please.
Stores that kids should download to online. Clothes stores that kids should download for online. Clothing stores that kids should Only.
My apologies once more. I'm in better lighting now, I'm sure. And let's get back to our practice. I'm totally unfit. Every time I walk, I can't breathe. All right. So I hope a lot of students were able to clearly understand. I hope some students were clearly able to understand if they didn't understand before how we got our answer. Just a simple recap. The 6 is related to 6/7 because 7 is the denominator and 6 is the numerator. So the number in the circle there, it's going to be the numerator, and all of the numbers are going to be over 7. Even though you're not seeing 7 there, by my critical thinking skills, I can figure out that 7 is the missing number that all the numbers are going to be placed over. So 7 is the hidden denominator. And for the next number in the circle, that's 7. Now, if we know that 7 is the hidden denominator, we can clearly say that our next fraction is going to be 7/7. Now, as I was explaining earlier, that once you have a number as a numerator and that same number is the denominator, that is a whole unit. And therefore, that's why we have 1, because 1 represents the whole. Now for the next number, 14 in the circle, that is going to be the numerator. Now the 14 is going to be placed over the hidden denominator, which is 7. Instead of seeing the fraction 14/7 that has been reduced to a whole number, when you divide the denominator, which is 7, into the numerator, which is 14, you will get the answer 2. Hence the reason why 2 is the answer. I hope everybody is on the same page. Let's move into question 13. It says if, and there's a diagram there with 6 shaded parts and 2 unshaded portions. If that represents what looks like a 3/4 in that diagram, then the other diagram with 2 shaded parts and 6 unshaded parts will represent, what will it represent? I know most people won't be able to type that figure in the chat, but they're going ahead to give me the answers. I'm seeing a lot of C, I'm seeing some A. I'm waiting for the other persons to respond. Now, this is a very good cohort. I'm assuming that most of these students will get 100% percentile in the mental ability examination for 2021. I'm seeing the correct answers. Oh, I'm seeing somebody there. Daniel, very good. Daniel says that 6/8, meaning that the 6 shaded portion over the eight pieces all together. So there's 8 pieces all together. There's 6 shaded portions and 2 unshaded portions. That 6/8 is represented as 3/4. Very good. And I can go more in depth, Daniel, again, and letting me know that 2/8 8 is going to be represented as a quarter. So therefore the answer is C. Very good. I like this kind of reasoning. I like it specifically because you're not only giving me answers, but you're giving me how you get the answers, the working out behind the answers. Let's look at how 6/8 would be 3/4 now. So if you know anything about reducing fractions, if you have 6/8 and the 8 represents how many parts are in the whole, and the 6 represents how many shaded portions there are. Now, if you look for a factor, or what is a factor is a number that goes into another number without leaving a remainder. So if you look for a number that can go into 6, both 6 and 8 without leaving a remainder, we can say that that number is, oh, come on here fast. I can't even say 2 out of my mouth. Yes, Kamoya, the answer is 2. So when we place 2 into 6, that goes 3 times, and that's how we get 3 to be the numerator there. And when we put 3 into 8, meaning, sorry, not 3. Let me go over. I made a slight mistake there. The answer is 2. 2 is the factor that can go into both 6 and 8. When you put 2 into 6, you get 3. And when you put 2 into 8, you get 4. That's how you got the 3/4. And now, if you are supposed to have a fraction with 2/8, well, 2 is also a factor of itself. Every number is a factor of itself. So 2 can go into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 8 4 times, and that's how we get the quarter. I hope everybody is on the same page. Let me go over again for all the students who are taking a little while to get on to what I'm saying. And I want every student to leave this session with understanding. I want you to understand clearly how we got to every answer. And if there's a child that does not understand what we have done from question 1 to 13, you can message me privately in the chat. I can try to see if I can arrange a session where I'm able to go over some of the things with you, right? Or I can try to explain clearer so you're on the same page. Let me go over the answer for number 13. All right, you don't understand J8 well. I'm gonna go over once more. It says if, and that's a diagram there, if this diagram there, all of the parts, there's 8 equal parts, and that's about fraction. When we're looking at fraction, we're talking about equal parts of a specific whole. So in this whole, there are 8 equal parts. And there are 6 of those parts that are shaded and 2 parts are unshaded. That represents the fraction. The shaded part is 6, which is the numerator, and the amount of pieces altogether in the whole is 8. So therefore we have a fraction of 6/8. Now, that is represented as 3/4. Let me go over how we got 3/4. And we're looking for a number that can go into both 6 and 8. And if we draw a factor tree, or we work it out with the factors, or we think about it more precisely, we can see that the number that goes into 6 and 8 without leaving a remainder is 2. All right. So when we put 2 into 6, when I say put into, I mean divide. When we divide 6 by 2, we're going to get 3, right? If we had 6 oranges and we were able to share it equally among 2 persons, each person would get 3 oranges each. Understanding that. Now, we're going to put the same 6 into the 8, which means the same thing as dividing 8 by, I made a mistake there. We're going to put the same 2 into the 8, which means the same thing as dividing 8 by 2. Dividing 8 by 2 will give you the answer 4. If we had 8 oranges and we were giving 2 persons those 8 oranges and they were supposed to get equal amount, each person would get 4. Somebody is requesting that you turn off the microphone. For everybody that has their microphone on, please turn off the microphone so everyone is only able to hear me. If there's an instance where I want you to turn on your microphone, I will ask so kindly. For the moment, can everybody turn off their microphone? I'm gonna also be muting everyone. But before I get to muting you, please mute yourself. Thank you. All right. Because I was interrupted and I don't want to continue, I'm just going to go over what I was saying very quickly. And this appears to be the last question that I'm going to be going over for this paper. Not entirely, but for this paper, because I really want to share the resources with you. I want, when I disconnect, you're still able to do some form of practice on your own. I want you to be able to not depend on the teacher per se or parents. I know that you as students are very assertive. I know that you're capable of finding things online. I know some of you are very good researchers, and I want to give you insightful information that you can take away from this class and use it to assist yourself. For students who are receptive, you will do very well with this information. There's numerous notes and question banks that I'll be showing you. I'll be showing you how to get to the notes. I'll be showing you how to go into each different categories. This is the hack. Do you know what the hack means? This is Pep Mental Ability Test hack. After you're finished with this mental ability test preparation, for today and our ongoing preparations, you should not have a problem in the examination. There should be no question that the ministry will send in an examination that you will be able to not answer, specifically because of the things that I'll be equipping you with. Equipping. Okay. You know what I mean. Let's go back to the question. It says if, and that's a fraction, even though you're not seeing an actual fraction, it's a representation of a fraction. All right. And if you know anything about fraction, you're going to know that the fraction is partitions of a whole. Is the whole cut into parts, right? So the whole there you're seeing as that rectangle, rectangle is cut into 8 equal parts. Out of those 8 equal parts, there's 6 shaded parts. Now the whole is how much parts is the whole is cut up in. That's going to be the denominator, and the denominator is the number at the bottom of the fraction. Fair enough? The number that's going to be the numerator, we're looking at the shaded portion in this case, is 6, because there's 6 shaded portions out of the 8 portions, so the fraction is 6 over 8. Now 6/8 is represented as 3/4. Why is it represented as 3/4? Because if you find a number that can go into both 6 and 8, which is 2, if you insert or divide 6 by 2, you'll get 3, which is the numerator. And if you divide 8 by 2, you're going to get 4 as the denominator. Therefore, that fraction is 3/4, which is the same as 3/4. And that's how they got 3/4 there. Looking at the other diagram, that other diagram has the same set of parts, which is the 8 parts, and that would have been the denominator. However, there's only 2 parts shaded. So the fraction is 2/8. Similarly to what we did before, we're going to divide a factor into the numerator and a factor into the denominator. When we divide 2, which is a factor that can go both into 2 and 4, 2 into 2 one time, 2 into 8 4 times. Let's go over that again. Based on this fraction that you're seeing, you can clearly see that there's 2 parts shaded out of the 8 parts. We're looking for a number that can go into both 2 and 8, and that's 2. 2 into 2 one time, meaning that 2 divided by 2, 1, and 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. So the fraction is 1/4, which is the same as a quarter. So therefore, the correct answer in this case is C. The other fractions, B and D, are not clearly noticeable to say what are the fractions. However, we can clearly see that A is a half as a fraction. However, we know that that's not the answer because we can clearly see that the representation is a quarter. I hope everybody is on the same page. And because I spent such a long time on this question, unfortunately, we're going to be finishing the questions for this paper today. If you're in our other sessions, we will continue. And next week, we'll have the 2020 Pep Ability Test paper. I want you to join that class. We'll be going through the entire paper, hopefully. And as I said, for the PEP exam, we don't have much past paper as we would have had for GSAT examination because there has only been 2 sittings. However, being the resourceful teacher that I am, I have allocated some numerous resources. PEP Ability Test is new to Jamaica, but it's not new to the world, and students in India and America has been doing well. It is somewhat new to Jamaica. Older folks, not me. I'm joking. I'm not that old. Older individuals would have been accustomed to the common entrance examination, and for the common entrance examination, which is similar to what we would have had as PEP. So we had the common entrance, then we had GSAT, and now we have PEP. So the common entrance had a component which is similar to the mental ability. I think it was called the same mental ability. So older individuals would have been accustomed to that kind of preparation, mental ability questions. They took it out for whatever reason and gave us GSAT. But the GSAT examination is specifically recalling information, recognizing what it is and recalling it. So a lot of students would say that they could swat the GSAT examination where you just had to go over some past papers and just know that, all right, this is the question, this is the answer. However, for PEP, it's simple. Specifically because they're integrating some components of logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, and we look at critical thinking amongst other things, right? So it takes a little bit more to figure out the answers. Not impossible, however, just a little bit more. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to be finishing up with this paper on the screen, and I'm going to be sharing what I call the hack, which is how the mental ability questions are created. Now, if you know how the mental ability questions are created, you should not have a problem. Doing the examination would not be a problem for you because you will know how all of the questions came about and how to solve each question. By just looking at the question, you will know what is taking place and how to solve the question. I am going to be sharing the link in the chat for the website that I'm going on now. I suggest every person in the chat, whether it's parents, teacher, or student, to save, bookmark this website. You're going to be using it throughout your entire preparation. I'm seeing some information in the chat. I'm not able to read them at the moment. I'm going to be reading them shortly. Bear with me. I'm sending the link to the website. For those who can go on the website now, they can do so. If you're using a phone or other device where you're not able to go on the website without coming out of this session, I would advise you to go on the website at a later time.
Miss, what is the name of the website?
Laptops and other devices where you're able to open another tab and go on the website, I suggest you do that now.
Excuse me, Miss.
The link is there in the chat. Hold on, I sent it to an individual privately. Let me send it to everyone. The link is here in the chat now. You can join from that link. And I want everyone to bookmark this link. This is a valuable link. I'll be sharing some other links. I won't be going into this website in depth today, specifically because of time constraints, but I'll be doing enough so you know how to maneuver the website. All right. So if you're on the page of the website, I'm on a specific page. I'm going to go back to the home page, which is just the website page. If you're seeing it there on the screen, you'll know if you're on the same website. All right, I'm gonna scroll down and you're going to be seeing things. This is an Indian website, so there are some things that you're not going to be able to comprehend readily. However, for whatever purpose we need it for, it will be able to suit that purpose. So in order to access the notes, and when we talk about the notes, you might not want to read the notes, specifically because it's notes and everybody is afraid of notes for some reason or another. Do not sign in. You're not signing into anything on the website. You're just doing what I'm showing you right now. So don't sign into anything. Don't create a password. Don't sign up. Don't do anything like that. All right. You're just going to scroll down on the website. I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing.
Miss, I'm on the website now.
All right. So if I'm zooming out there, you're going to be seeing these things on the website. Where it says notes, you can access the notes from notes. I'm going to show you a quicker way to access the notes, and we're going to scroll all the way down. When we go all the way down, we're going to see that green portion of the website. If you're seeing that green portion of the website, yes, I'm seeing some students are saying that they're on the website. That's very good. For the students who are not on the website, pay keen attention so you can go onto the website afterwards. And as I was saying,
Miss, I'm on the website.
Your teacher at school might not be privy to these information specifically because of just researching purposes. I'm an avid researcher. There's nothing on the internet that I don't know or I'm not able to find. Let me clarify that. Not that I don't know, I know everything on the internet, what I need to know. That's what I mean. So there's nothing on the internet that I need to know that I don't know. And there's nothing on the internet that I need to find that I don't find. So
Miss,
that's just how I get these information, because I'm on the internet 24/7. I live online on www.com. All right, let's go back to the website. And as a student, if you are resourceful, you will find information. There's no excuse to be not prepared. And I say that once more. There is absolutely no excuse for any child in Jamaica to not be prepared. There's too much resources out there. Even if your teacher doesn't understand, you are of this age. It is your era, your children in the information era, the information era where everything is at your fingertip. And if you want to find it and if you want to know it, you can. All right. So some of the students are on it. I'm waiting for some other students to get on it before I can start showing you what you're supposed to be doing. All right. I'm waiting for some other students to go on the website. For the students who are already on the website, scroll all the way down. I'm gonna go back to the page so you can see what's going on. There's a green section at the beginning. That's not the green section we're looking at just now. I'm gonna show you how to access it from the top, but I want to show you how to access it from the green section at the bottom first. So you're gonna scroll all the way down for students who are on the website. Scroll all the way down, follow me. I'm going down and I'm going down and I'm going all the way down till I see these little video clippings, and I'm going to the green part at the bottom of the screen. That's the last thing that you're seeing on the website. If you're there at the bottom, click on where it says sixth. You're gonna go under sixth, and you're gonna see these things being appearing. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see what's going on. My apologies, I'm off the website. Wow, what is happening? Yes, I was pressing the wrong control. All right, so I'm zooming in there and I'm scrolling back down to the bottom of the website. If you're there and you're seeing something that says sixth is clearly between fifth and seventh. You're seeing sixth here, there's going to be NCRT solutions. You're not concerned about that at the moment. What you're concerned with is the question bank and the notes. Question bank and notes, and you'll be using this 24/7. Children, I appeal to you, do not let this information fall on the ground. I'm not sure of the connotation of what they normally say, but I'm going to just say it in my own words. Don't let this information lose you and just come on the class and just use it on the class and not use it in your free time. Please, students, go on the website at least once per day and look at something. Either look at something in notes or something in the question bank. The examination is right around the corner. To be exact, we have 1 month, and I'm going to count it: 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have 1 month and 8 days for the examination. And as my granny would say, as you quint, the exam is right at your doorstep. Please, guys, I want you to be on the website. I want you to be using up the resources. And this is just one of the resources I'm going to give you today. All right. With that said, I think enough
Excuse me,
students are on
miss,
the
my
website now,
Wi-Fi
and I'm
went
going to
away.
click
Can
on
you
notes.
lead me back where you were starting
When I
from?
click on notes, you will see that a different window has appeared and you're seeing select subjects. Is everyone there at select subjects? I'm going to allow
No, miss, because my Wi-Fi
students
went
to
away.
get to this page. I'm going to also double back to the page that I'm coming from so you can see how I got to this page. I'm going back and I clicked on the back button, and there at the bottom of the screen where 6 is, somebody says if they go on it, I'm not seeing the information that you're showing. What website are you on? I'm going to send back the website URL to the chat. Please use the information that you're seeing in the chat, copy and paste, should be the same website. Probably why you're not seeing it is because you're not at the bottom of the website. So I want you to scroll down to the bottom of the website. That green portion there on the website, it's the only large green portion on the website. There's a smaller green portion at the top. This is the only large green portion at the bottom. Scroll all the way down. I hope you're on it. For students who did not get onto the website, who are having challenges, I'm sharing my
Miss, I'm
number
where you are
now
now. Thank you.
to the chat, and I'm also going to be, this number is accessible via WhatsApp. Please WhatsApp me. If you have WhatsApp, if you have email, you can send an email to me. Otherwise, you can call and we can have a discussion. I'm also sharing my email address. I'm gonna share this simple email address that everybody can use. And this is connected to my phone. So once you send an email, I'll see it immediately and I'll respond immediately, hopefully. All right, let's go back to the website. So if you click on notes, it will bring you to another tab in the website. And this page that comes up, you're going to see select subject. Now we're on mental ability, so you're gonna click on mental ability notes. I hope everybody is on the same page.
Yes, Miss, I'm on it.
After you click on mental ability, I'm gonna send that link straight to the mental ability too as well. If you weren't able to start from the home page, you can start from that link that I'm sending you now that says mental ability. You're going to see some topics there. It's going to say select chapters. I won't be able to go through all of them. I'm going to choose one and go through it and then look at one, some of the notes there. But I want for all the children who are very resourceful, it is not okay to be on every other website and you're not on the websites that you're supposed to be on. You're getting the hacks, you're getting the inside information. Some teachers do not have this information because they just don't know, and I won't be elaborating on that. What I'm going to be elaborating on is if you are privy to the information, please use your time and use your effort wisely. In the 24-hour day that we have, say for instance, some of you are up 18 hours for the day. Use your time wisely. You should plan your time and use both your mental and physical efforts productively. With that said, I'm going to be clicking on the chapter of series completion. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 topics. Now, listen keenly, students. If you go through all these 24 topics, you cannot get a question on the examination that you're not going to be able to answer. Let me repeat. If you go through all these 26 topics, the ministry cannot send a question on the examination that you are not going to be able to answer, because every single mental ability question that will come on that examination is from one of these categories. The question can either be on series completion, the question can either be on numbers, it can be an alphanumeric number, ranking and time sequence, it can be on geometry, cube roots, dot situation, direction sense test, analogy, you name it. But they cannot bring a question that you're not going to be able to handle, because these mental ability questions existed before even Jamaica started to do the PEP examination. And these questions are derived from these topics. So therefore, any question that can come on the examination is from one of these topics. Now, the students who currently do tutoring classes with me will know we're on these topics every single day. We're on each of the topics. Some of the students are at chapter 10, some students are at 5, some are at 2, depending on how long they had started the classes and the preparation with me. And for the students who I have continuously, they are going to be going through all of these chapters. No, even if you're not a student of mine, that does not narrow you down to not be prepared, because you're still getting the same resources. These are the same resources that I'm using in my classes. I am letting you be privy to all the information that I'm using, and I will be there for partial support for students who decide to join private tutoring classes with me after this session. You will be there, but for students who are not able to join the classes for whatever reason, you're still provided with these free information sessions that I'll be going over information with you. And as I said, I'll be doing this as much time as I can before the examination. I'll also be doing some for the performance task examination. I'll be doing some for the curriculum-based examination. I'll be your go-to guide for PEP assistance. Please reach out to me via phone or email, and I'll assist in whatever way I can. With that said, let's go to the series completion.
Miss, excuse me, one question before you go on.
When you click on series completion, there will be another window that's opening. Some of the banks, some of the notes banks have more than one note. It's not much notes, and notes are pretty straightforward. You see, like how I explain it, and you're able to answer in lay and understand in layman terms. This website is just as simple. And I'm going to be sharing some other websites with you. However, these websites that I'll be sharing don't have the notes. This is your #1 go-to website for the notes and how they compile the questions for the ability test. This note and the notes have examples, and they're pretty straightforward. I'm just going to go over there. We won't get to go to the notes in entirety today because of the time constraints, but you are equipped with the resources already, and that is all you need. You need just the resourcing and the willingness to want to do well in your examination, so you can go over the notes and read the notes. As I said, that there's not much. Some of them you might stumble across something that you're not able to understand. For most of these notes, they are pretty straightforward, and they're equipped with examples just to help you to get prepared. Please utilize the resources. I am sounding repetitive. However, I need you to understand how important it is for you to go on the website and utilize the resources that you're given. Also, as a token of you participating in this session, I'm going to be providing some additional manipulatives, some virtual manipulatives. I've already purchased these manipulatives on the website. I have the login. I'm going to be sharing the login to the chat with the login and password. I want you to sign on, and I want you to use up the resources. It makes no sense that you have the resources and you're not using them. And I do sound repetitive, but I have to repeat. Please use the resources that you're given. All right. So once you're scrolling down now, you see the notes and different examples. Some notes are shorter than some. This is a very short note, and quickly you can read this off in 10 minutes. After you're finished with these notes, and the great thing about this website, for each of the notes, you have question banks to match them. And let's see how we get to the question banks. Now you can scroll down as usual all the way to the bottom of the screen, and you see the same green portion, that same green portion at the bottom of the screen where you're able to click back on question bank. For those who are not on the website, I hope that you're able to follow these simple instructions and get to the website. As I said, reach out to me. Otherwise, if you're not able to get onto the website, or if I did something in this session that you didn't quite understand, and I can clarify that in a private session or just via phone call or message or whatever medium it might be. If you want to access the question bank from the top of the screen, we're going to scroll all the way to the top and I can show you how we can do so. Where it says 6 here, you're seeing that 6 there between the 5th and 7th, 6, you can click on 6. Excuse me, please. Can you bring my charger for me? All right. When you go on 6th, you're going to scroll down and you're going to see mental ability. And once you click on mental ability, you'll be back in the same page that we were on before. And this looks a little bit different, but you can still access the notes here from the different chapters. As well as you can scroll down and you're seeing something that says question bank. You can click on this question bank, or you can go down to the bottom of the screen, which you're accustomed to, and click on question bank here on the green portion. I'm going to click from here where it says question bank.
This. And then the rest of things.
And for each question bank, as I was saying, the beauty about this website is that it has the notes, but as soon as you're finished reading through the notes, you can come and start doing the questions. So we looked at the series completion notes just now, and we can click on the series completion question bank and we'll see all the questions related to series completion. And as I was saying before, some of these notes bank have more than one notes. I encourage you to read all of it. And we still have a lot of time to prepare relatively for children who are very assiduous at their work, and they can find some time throughout the day. Sorry. Right here. They can find some time throughout the day and go onto these websites. If you're aggressive, you can complete all the notes. And if you're more aggressive, you can also complete all the questions. So for the series completion question bank, you have 3 different question banks. All of them are equipped with 50 different questions. I encourage you to do all of the questions. Simply because if you complete these question bank and note bank, you literally laughing in the examination come the 23rd of February. Nothing that they may be able to give you that one of these question bank or notes will be able to give you the insight on how to solve the questions. And if you're looking there, you're seeing question 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the way down to question 50. Scroll all the way down and you'll be able to do the questions there. Another beautiful thing about this website is that you don't need a teacher. The website marks the questions for you. However, for some students who are not as, I'm trying to find the best word to use. If you want an easy way out, you can click on everything 5-10 tries. To get the correct answer, then you can click on it to see what the correct answer would have been. So in this case, I'm just going to randomly click on A, and you're going to see that A is incorrect, right? And you can click on it until you see the correct answer, which is there, that's B. So that's the correct answer. Another beautiful thing about this website, and I keep saying beautiful because it's extremely a good website. Specifically because 1, it gives the notes, 2, it gives you the question. Not only does it mark the question, but it gives you the solution. If you're seeing there in the right corner, the lower right corner, it says view solution. I'm going to click on view solution. This is going to open a different tab than what I was in before. I might have to share that new tab. Is it shared? Let me see. Let's scroll down and see if it's shared.
Yes,
It's
Daniel
shared.
Bryan was stripped of the WWE World
Now,
Heavyweight Championship and has been on the
you can
shelf
see the
ever since.
solution as to how
Bree,
they
that was
got
really
the
smart.
answer
But truthfully,
to
I'm
the
so glad
question.
you're out
Sorry,
here because
how
now
they
you
got the
get
answer for
to
question and
watch
how they got it to
Nikki
be letter
get
B.
demolished
So you can clearly
by
see that
4 other
one was added to
competitors in the
2
ring. And I hope that
to
you
get
know
to
when you think
3.
about it, that it's all
And then when you
because
add 1 plus 2 plus 3, you get 6, which is the second term. And then when you add the 2, the 3, and the 4, you will get the 10, which is the third term. And in order to get the fourth term, all you need to add is the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm seeing the messages in the chat. I'm not able to read them at the moment because I want to just go through how to use the website. I'll look at each message in the
World
chat
Heavyweight
shortly.
Championship
Please continue to
and
send
has
them.
been on the shelf ever since.
So you can see how useful this website is. I'm using this website on a daily basis with my students.
By 4 other competitors in the ring.
Right?
And I hope that you
And
know,
for
when you
each
think
question,
about
as I
it,
said, most of
that
them will
it's
have
all
solutions. Some might not have
because
solution, and that's fair enough because they've already provided so much solution. So it's some of them, they're not, just because of, I think, the time constraint where it is to upload the solution, probably somewhere between the transition there, it was not done. But for most of the questions, for most of the question banks, you do have solutions. What more do you need, students? With a website like this, every day you're on it, like just like are you on the little game on your phone? Just come on the website and you go on the website and you just quickly read through the notes, or not so quickly, but then read it so you have a clear understanding and then head to the question bank and start doing the questions. And as I said, and I'm going to repeat again, all over the world, other places have been doing mental ability questions. It's nothing new to the world. It's new to Jamaica in this sense, but persons before who had been common entrants would have been accustomed to mental ability questions. And the ministry is not creating anything out of thin air, if you understand what I mean. They might be creating new questions, meaning that these questions are not online. However, there are similar questions to them online simply because of these things. And I'm going to go back to the notes bank, scrolling all the way down to the bottom, clicking on notes and go back to the notes bank. Click on mental ability, go back to the mental ability notes. And I'm saying, students, there can only be one out of these many ways that the questions are going to come on. Let me rephrase. No question on the examination is not from one of these specific chapters. Every question that you're going to see on the examination is from one of these chapters. If you read through all of these chapters, or as much as you can read through, even just to briefly peruse through these topics, which peruse is just scanning through it to get some information. If you're able to go onto this website, the Study Other website, and click on these chapters, and for each of the chapters, if you did numbers, all you do for one, and look at me mimicking what you're supposed to be doing. Click on numbers, and then I come here and it says read now, and I'll scroll down and I'll read, and I'll get all the information that I need to get. Once I'm finished with reading the notes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scroll down all the way to the bottom and go to my question bank. And once I click on my question bank, and I'm going to come there, click back on mental ability and go to my numbers question bank, because for every one of the notes, you have question banks on it. And once you're in the question bank, all you need to do is practice now. Once you click practice now, you can scroll down and start doing your practices. And as I said, you don't have to wait until the feedback for the teacher. All you need to do is click on this. No, man, that was the incorrect answer. Click on the other one. Not necessarily like how I'm doing, but working it out, right? And after you work it out and then you click on it, you're able to determine the correct answer. Then you'll see the correct answer coming up, right? Let's say both A and C, and that's the correct answer. But say, for instance, you have exhausted all your options and you really don't know how they get to the correct answer. Click on view solutions, and once you click on view solution, you'll be able to see a step-by-step procedure of how they got their answer. I know that you're seeing something on the screen that says Lanks and 1000 because it's an Indian website. Some of the things that you're not going to be familiar with some of the terms, because a Lang is an Indian dollar. But you can transfer it and just say 100 because that represents 100, and the Koreas or Koreas represent tens. So you can transfer it back to Europe, but that's not for everything. That's only for some of the questions. But for majority of the questions, they're easy to understand. For majority of the questions, they're easy to understand and easy to go through. All right. So that's one of the websites. I'm going to be looking at some things in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of chats here, messages in their chats, and I want to, oh, somebody has their mic unmuted. I'm going to mute it. Sorry about that. If I had known, I would have read earlier.
Miss,
All right.
excuse
So
me.
I hope everyone was on the same page whereas the website is concerned. If you weren't able to go onto the website immediately, as I said, send me a message, send me an email. I'll get you onto the website and get you onto practicing. All right. For students who are still asking for my number, I'm going to resend my number to the chat, and I'm going to resend my email. 49271. And as I said, based on the feedback that I got today, this is just one of the many sessions that we're going to have on the ability test preparation and performance task and the curriculum-based test. And yes, I'm alluding to something that somebody said in the chat. That's the honest truth. If you're here with me and if you're aggressive and resourceful and very receptive on the website, you should be really laughing at the test paper that the ministry will send, honestly, because if we were just able to go through the 2019 past paper and most of the students who were participating, some of the students got all the questions correct. And if you were able to get all of those questions correct, just imagine how you're going to be doing in the actual PEP examination. Guys, I want you to continue to be resourceful, continue to be to use your initiative. I want you to continue to put your best foot forward, because that is the only thing that's going to be helping you in the examination and in your future. Right? And even though there's a pandemic and you're not able to do schooling as you would normally do it, as I'm going to say again, it is not necessarily an excuse. Oh, I can't do well because of COVID. Oh, I didn't do class because of COVID, hence I'm not going to do well in my examination. No, you can do well in your examination, especially with these resources that I'm equipping you with, right? I'm going to send a step-by-step procedure of how to go onto the Study Ability website now to the chat, and you can copy that or write it down so you know how to go onto the website even when I've disconnected. All right, I'm sending that information now. I'm going to be stopping the sharing because I'm actually going into another application in order to retrieve the information. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to copy some information from I'm going to be copying some information from my application to send it to your chat so you know how to get onto the website even without my help. And as I was saying earlier, once you're on these websites on a daily basis, you're going to be able to know how to maneuver the website. All right, can everyone look in their chat now? And you're going to be seeing a step-by-step procedure of how you get to maneuver in the website. All right. So the first thing that you're going to do when you go on the study other websites, and I'm going to go over it once more before I actually come off the website and go on to the other website that I'm introducing you to. And I've realized that we've also gone over the 2-hour mark. Wow. I am not going to hold you hostage any longer than, than 30 minutes. No, well, not 30 minutes more, but 30 minutes over the expected time. So we had said that we were going to finish at 7. I mean, after we had already passed the 6 o'clock marker. So we're not finishing at 6 or we're finishing at 7 because we're already past those time. We're going to finish at 7:30 on the dot. Please, someone send me a message when it's 7:30. All right. Back to the Study Other website. I'm going to be sharing the information once more to the screen. All right. So if we're back on the Study Other website now, following the instructions that I sent in the chat. All right, let's look at the instruction that I sent in the chat. So the first thing you're going to do is to go on the website, right? Once you're on the website, the second thing that you're going to be doing.
Lady on the.
All right, hold on. I realized that I sent it even with my WhatsApp information. Wow.
I am not seeing the website.
Well, the date and the time. I'm going to be removing that so you can see it clearer. All right, so instruction to use the Study Other website and instruction how to use. Please look in the chat for the corrections. I made a slight error with sending unnecessary details. So I'm sending the correct details now, and that should be clearer for you to understand. All right, so once you're on the Study Other website, all you need to do is scroll down to the bottom, and this is the easiest way I know how to get to the notes bank. Just scroll down to the bottom, all the way to the green part of the screen, and click on 6th. Well, not clicking on 6, but go look under the 6th tab. Once you see 6 there, you're going to click on notes or question bank. That's the only 2 sections that you're concerned with at the moment. Notes and question bank. Once you click on notes, and it's usually advised that you look at the notes before you look at the questions, you're going to click on mental ability. Once you click on mental ability, you're going to scroll down and select one of these topics, or what they call them chapters, and read the notes on the chapter. I'm going to click back at series completion. I already did series completion. I'm going to click on a note. I'm going to click on non-verbal series. Once you click on non-verbal series, you can scroll down there and it says read now, and you click on read now, and then you're reading the notes, right? Once you're finished with reading the notes, you're going to scroll down all the way back to the bottom where the green part of the screen is. It might seem as though it's not ending. The notes will end shortly. Once the notes ends, you're still back on the green part of the screen. Once you're on the green part of the screen, you click on question bank. And it's all often advised or also advised that once you're reading the notes, say for instance, we read the notes just now on, and once you're clicking on the question bank there, you're seeing mental ability, you click on the mental ability question. Once you read the notes, you can click on the same question banks like that note. So we looked at nonverbal reasoning just now, and there's also a question that says nonverbal series. Once you click on that nonverbal series, you will see the question bank appearing, and then you're going to see practice now, and you click on practice now. Once you see the practice now, you can look and see the questions there. For the questions, as I said, the answers will be provided after numerous attempts. You might be able to get the correct answer on the first attempt. Please do not just go on the website and just click on it until you get the correct answer. Please work out what you're working out first, and then you can click on it to see that if it's the correct answer. And if you're somewhat not able to figure out the answer, and that is last resort, or you've already figured out the answer, but you wanted to find out if they got the answer the same way that you got the answer, you can click on view solutions. And once you click on view solution, you will see how the answer was arrived at. All right. I hope that was very helpful. And I am going to, thank you, Kemaya, for reminding me. We only have 11 minutes left. So in closing about this website, please use the resources. This is with this website alone, you can pass the exam with 100%. I'm pretty sure of it. I am pretty sure. I've had students last year who got 100% in the Pep mental ability question, and it's this website that we are on day to day on the website. Shout out to Tyler Heath. He's there, and he's going to be even doing his CXC. The student of mine, he had passed for Wolmer's boys last year. He's actually doing the CXC mathematics examination this year. That speaks to his level of commitment to his learning. I'm a very proud teacher as I stand here. Imagine a grade 7 student doing CXC examination. That means all the students in grade 11 have no excuse. And some of you students who are in the session right now can also go on to do very great things and get scholarships and do whatever your mind so delights you to do. All you need to do is to be continuous in your efforts and continuously or consistently practicing and putting your best foot forward. The sky is not even a limit to where you can go. Please use the resources and use your time wisely while you're online. There's so much things, negative and positive and otherwise, to distract you. You have to remain focused in this time. All right. Let's move on to the next website in the short time that we have. And that website, I've already sent it to the chat. I'm going to send it back to the chat, and that's sawal.com. And this website is specifically for mental ability preparation. This is another go-to website. If you do practices on these two websites, if you do practices on these two websites, you should not have a problem in your examination. I keep repeating, the ministry is not creating any question that's new. There might be different questions, but the whole strategy, the whole formula, the whole background of how they come up with these questions are not new, guys. These information are out there and have been out there and will continue to be out there. If you are aggressive in your preparation, the ministry cannot send a question on the examination that you're not going to be able to answer. With that said, and only 7 minutes to go, I'm counting, Kemoya. Let's look at the website. So we're at aptitude and reasoning question. Before we go to aptitude and reasoning, I'm going to go back to the home page because I want to bring it to the home page. And not all of these questions will be coming on the examination. Let me show you the ones that are going to specifically come on the examination. If you're sitting in our other sessions, you will be more equipped to help yourself, right? Hopefully I'm going to be putting out the information ahead of time to let you know when I'll be on, so you can definitely come on. But let's go. So for the PEP examination, the ministry is going to be bringing question on verbal reasoning and logical reasoning. If you want to, you can write that down now. Verbal reasoning and logical reasoning. If you click on aptitude and reasoning, that's where you're supposed to be, right? Aptitude and reasoning. And in aptitude and reasoning, you're seeing verbal reasoning here, mental ability, you're seeing verbal reasoning, logical deduction, you're seeing nonverbal reasoning, quantitative aptitude, arithmetic ability, and quantitative aptitude, yes, I'm correct, data interpretation. What we're going to be looking at today is verbal reasoning, mental ability. And as usual, you can also peruse through the other different categories just to familiarize yourself. As we said, we want to be resourceful, so we know all the information that we need to do. We need to know. So under verbal reasoning, mental ability questions, you're going to see the same or some of the similar topics that like what you would have seen on the study at our website. These are all the different categories that the ministry has to bring a question from. Every question that will be coming on the 2021 mental ability exam paper is from one of these categories. The ministry cannot bring it from a category that's not here, that does not exist. It has to be from one of these categories. The question either has to be an alphabetic test, it has to be an analogy, it has to be an arithmetical reasoning question, or so on. Similar coding and decoding are things that we're familiar with, but it has to be on one of these questions. It cannot be on anything that you don't see here. With that said, please use your resources wisely. I'm going to copy this link and send it to the chat. All right, guys, you don't have to be reminding me of time in the chat. I know that you're restless at this moment, but I'm glad for those of the students and parents, teachers likewise, who stuck with me throughout this 2 hour and 30 minutes. I hope that, please, students, focus on the information that I am sending rather than the information that other students are sending. Please make sure that you're saving the link to the websites. All right. Please focus on the most important things, and that's the link. All right. That's the links, guys. Focus on the links and focus on us just wrapping up this information session so you're able to do much with the information after we leave. All right. All right. So with that said, I want you to go on the website, be resourceful and assertive in getting the answers, but also reading the notes for the website that is presented with the notes. Also, for the paper that I did earlier, the 2019 Mental Ability Test paper, please reach out to me via email and I can email the actual document to you. And then you can
Miss,
go
can I
through the
send you my
document.
school
It has the
email?
ability test. It has the performance task from 2019. It has the curriculum-based test. I have some other resources that students might also be interested in, and I'll be revealing those information throughout our sessions. If there's any concerns, if there's any person that's needing support other than what you're already provided with at your school, please reach out to me. All right?
Miss?
Could you
For
please send your email?
persons who are interested in private tutoring, I'm not able to respond to everybody via the chat. I'm going to be sharing my number again. You can reach out to me personally with that concern. We have come to the end of our mental ability preparation for today. I hope you were able to learn as much as I was able to impart. I hope you're going to take this information and use it towards your benefit. I hope that you use the resources well. And again, if there's any additional support or anything that you're not clear about that we discussed today, please send me a message to my WhatsApp or call, or you can send an email. The final thing that I'm going to be doing for this session is sharing my email once more.
Miss, it's 7:30 on that.
Okay, I'm copying this email, miss. I'm copying the email so I can send you the information to work with your students. Give me a second, please. For our next session, I'm trying to do our next session sometime next week. I don't think I want to wait until next week Friday, specifically because that's the time. By the time, before you look, the exam will be right at our footsteps. And I want to give students adequate time to prepare for the examination. I wanted to do this session from in December, however, it was not possible. So I think I'm going to be using the time wisely. I think I might be able to do another session on Monday. Please stay tuned to your WhatsApp, your Facebook, and for those who are on Instagram or otherwise. This video will also be on our YouTube page. You can go back and look at some of the information there and go through some of the things that you weren't quite clear about in this video. But also, that's the last thing that I'm going to end with, but I want you to take this very, very serious. Please, I'm available. I am lending myself to all the students who are in this class and the wider Jamaica to reach out
Good
to me. I
evening, Miss
want
Kimberly
to assist and I
Bowen.
want to help. If there's anything, if you got a question in class that you didn't quite understand, and even after Miss explained it, you weren't able to understand, it might be something that I'm able to help with. Send me the question via email, via message, and I'll respond and we can see how best we can work out these questions. I want everybody to be prepared. And even though we're in the midst of, well, not the midst, well, it's ongoing. The pandemic, I want you to get as much support as you would have gotten in your actual classroom setting, right? So with that said, thank you very much to everyone who joined today. As I said, hopefully I can do another session on Monday where I'm able to go more in depth into the notes there on the Study at our website. I have publications of questions that I've written myself, which I always also want to go through some of those questions. Also, not for next week, Monday, but for next week, Friday, which is the same time, the 5 to 6, well, at 5 to 7, 5 to 7:30, wherever it stops. We'll be looking at the 2020 mental ability questions. You do not want to miss that session. All right. So with that said, we're at the end of our session. Some students are still, some individuals are still requesting the email. For those who did not get the number, I'm sending the number once more to the chat. And I'm going to be sharing my email once more to the chat.
Bye, Miss.
And in concluding, I want you to also share with others. Just like how I shared with you, you can also share with others. So for a student that you know did not get to attend the session for whatever reason, please reach out to the student and let them know that you have some new resources that they need to get. And let them know that we will be doing another session and that they can join in at that time. But please share the websites and share the information with other students so they can also be adequately prepared for their examination. All right, that's where we end today, guys. Bye, and thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you next week.
Same to you, Miss. Bye, Miss, and thank you for your time.
Excuse me, Miss, can you send back the number in the chat, please?
Some students are not exiting. Come on, I stay until the end. I'll be here though, I'll be here.
Bye, Miss.
Miss, can you send back the number in the chat, please?
Excuse me, Miss, could you please send back the number? Miss Kimberly? Miss, my Wi-Fi is giving a little problem, Miss. If you could please send back the number in the chat, please, and thank you.
Pep practice. I'm gonna go on pep practice and see what they have in store.
I'm down to 19 students who don't decide to leave me for today. This is funny. Come on, you're staying. You're staying, and Gabrielle is staying. They're not leaving. You want me to start another session? All right. It's funny. And I kind of see your enthusiasm and your willingness and wanting to learn and continue to be engaged. I'm going to be send a number to the chat, Gabriel and Kemaya. I might be able to fit you into one of my private sessions. So I'm looking out for your information in the chat now.
Okay, miss.
All right, let me send the number again. 1-866-492-7169. All right, so apparently somebody says I can fit in too. So other students want to fit into my private session. All right, apparently I'm gonna be doing this session more often. I've copied your number, Kemoy, and I've copied your number, Gabriel. Akira, you can also send your number as well. Oh my, Michaela wants to send her number too. You can all send your numbers. At some point in time, I can reach out. I also do call throughs where I'm not necessarily having students in a session, but I can just call via WhatsApp or a regular just to have a conversation. Whereas there might be things in your regular class time that you're not able to understand and you want some assistance wherever it is. Even the brightest child needs some assistance. So everybody needs assistance.
And their eyes will let go.
And I might be able to provide such assistance. And this is similar to in the classroom, where after the classroom, some students want to stay back just to have a conversation with the teacher. So apparently it's one of those times now. For the students who remain in the class, I see the level of commitment that you have. What I want to encourage you to do is to use the resources that I've sent. As I said, even for my private classes, I have other resources that I use that I won't be able to send to you specifically because of just copywriting issues where things get distributed very quickly. And, but if you're in the sessions with me, you will be getting most of those information, not necessarily in depth, but enough to help you, right? For the website, I want you to go onto the website. I want you to use up the website. Sorry. And I want you to just know that even though it's a very difficult time where you're not accustomed to what's going on right now, I can honestly say that before 2019, some students would have not even been accustomed to the term online class, where if somebody said, do you want to do an online class? They were like, online what? I don't know what you're talking about. Could we do online class? Yes. Even before COVID, I had students from Maypen. So I had a student in Maypen and I drove to Maypen one day to do the class and I realized I could not do that anymore. So this child had to come online with me for classes. So you would have had students who would have been accustomed to online classes because they would have been
Claudia and
distant.
Ashman, you have
For
to
the general student, they would not have been accustomed to the term online class. So I can honestly understand where a lot of students are just outside there, out of the bubble, not understanding what we're doing, if it's really class. I mean, some students are like, that's not really class. It's not online. No, I'm not seeing my teacher. I can't touch
Excuse
anybody.
me,
There's
miss.
no book. There's no desk. There's no chair. That's not class. However, I beg to differ. You can learn
Excuse me, miss.
anywhere. You can learn under any circumstances. I'm in a master's course. I'm actually studying online. I'm in a master's course where I'm doing all my classes totally online. I have not met my teacher. I don't know what the person looks like in person, sadly. But I'm still learning in the class because the teacher has provided the resources, and because I'm a resourceful individual, I use those resources to help me. Similarly, I can
Miss?
impart the same knowledge onto you to say that even though you're not in an actual classroom setting, you still can use the resources that the teacher is giving you to do well. All right? Specifically what I have been doing before. And even though it might take a longer time in the class, because you can't just walk up to the desk and say, hey, miss, I don't understand, please. And the teacher can hold your hand and help you to understand. It's not as easy. However, you still can do some form of learning. And to a greater extent, you can still learn the same way like you learned in the face-to-face class. And the truth is, because coronavirus is not going anywhere for now, you might
Miss, how can I
be
get my
in
child in
online
your private
classes
class?
longer than expected. Some students have resumed face-to-face classes, but even when you go to high school, most of the high school students are not doing face-to-face classes because of the amount of students in the school. So blended learning, which is mostly online. Well, it should be a partition of both equally. Online and face-to-face classes, you're going to be doing online classes and you're going to be doing face-to-face classes. I think that's going to be the new norm of what is going to be taking place. So I encourage you not to necessarily just get used to the idea. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying, but easier way into the idea to know that it will always be around, where at some point in time, I might not have the teacher at my beck and call and I think I'm speaking for some teachers right now to say that. No, you understand how valuable the teacher was, right? When you saw the teacher in the class saying, boy, I'm tired to see miss. No, sir, miss Candace, not come one day. Now the teacher is not there. And you're like, oh my, I wish I had my teacher. Oh, I need my teacher. So we get to understand how valuable the teacher in the classroom was. And some of us students, I call myself student because I was once there, neglect the effort of the teacher and not seeing how valuable the teacher was until now, where you're literally not able. I mean, some of you haven't seen your teacher in over 6 months and you're like, oh my God, miss, you look different. Did you age? Did you change your hair? Did you get fatter? Yes. But what I was saying is that no, you have to get used to the idea of working independently. So homework is now every day. Every day you have homework. You're always going to be doing homework because you're going to be home most of the time where you have to work. So hence you're doing homework often or more often than usual. And it talks about the level, when we talk about strong parenting or strong families at home, it speaks to the level of support that the child will be getting. If there's not so much strong support at home, and I don't mean to hit on anyone per se, but if you don't have that support at home, you might see a child that normally does well in class because they don't have the support of the teacher. They're not able to do as well, now in the online class, but that is the onus of the child per se. I mean, everybody in your household wants you to do well, but the onus is on you, the individual, even more so than anybody else, to do well, because it is your future. Yes, that is elaborated and emphasized. Yes, it is your future. And if you want to do well as a child, you have to be responsible. Wow, yes, I'm speaking to children.
Yes, miss.
You have to be responsible for your own learning. What that means is that in your spare time, instead of Googling and YouTubing what is trending, you need to be going on things that are going to be uplifting and productive for you. For the majority of this conversation, it's going to be long and elaborating and exhausting, because I have to get this message across to you to make sure you know that. I know that you're online, but what are you online doing? For everything that I do personally, all my work is also my play. I make my work my play. So when I'm working, I enjoy what I'm doing. Likewise, when you're doing your studying, you should try to make it as fun as possible, so you don't want to leave and go do something else that you categorize as fun. You take the time that you're using to study and make that time be fun to you, so you don't have to look for anything else that's going to be fun for you, because your work is already your play. Okay, so
Yes, miss.
for the YouTube, you hear me repeating it?
Yes, miss.
For the YouTube lovers,
Yes,
are
miss.
always on, I talk about myself too, I'm always on YouTube. I don't watch TV, I watch YouTube. I'm always on YouTube. As I wake up in the morning, I hit YouTube. When I'm going to my bed at night, I'm on YouTube. I'm always on YouTube. But what am I on YouTube doing? I'm looking for something that can help me to be productive and progressive.
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
there are times that I see things
Yes,
that
miss.
come up against me that I
Yes,
want to
miss.
click on and watch. And I do click on it, and I go on it, and I'm being very honest. I go on it, but guess what? As soon as I'm on it, I remember that's not what I'm supposed to be on. Come off of that. Go back on what I was on, right?
Yes, miss.
So that's the strategy. You can be distracted. It's very hard not to be distracted. There's so much things out there to distract you. However, if you're distracted, it should be only for a period of time where you're quickly moving back to what you were doing before. That's about the focus. You have to learn how to focus. For all the persons who love chess, yay me. I'm going to also do a session where we're looking at some chess. Chess helps to build focus amongst other games, right? Everything that you're doing in your life should be some form of progression to what you're doing, all right? So in closing, I don't want parents to be asking, how you online so long? No, you know, it's Miss Bowen keeping a session from 6 o'clock to 8, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Wow, did Miss Bowen do that session for so long? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So for the 10 students who are still in the class, I know you want to stay here until tomorrow. However, I cannot allow that. I'm going to allow you to leave, or I'm going to be ending the meeting shortly, sadly. And then, as I said, I want to pick up back next week where we can do some more mental ability preparation and be more prepared to go into our examinations. All right. So with that said, Kemoya, Claudia, what are the other persons? I have to name them out. I'm looking for you guys in the next session. Akira, Annalika, Gabrielle, Lapricia. 1+8 Pro, I'm not sure who's that. and another person with 4 tally marks. I'm not sure who's that. Yes, and Claudia Ashman. Did I mention Claudia Ashman? Yes, I did. I applaud you guys to stay till the end of, well, end of our session. And I hope whatever information I was able to provide was very useful to you. And I hope you will use the information that you're given to be more productive in your journey towards your examination and otherwise. All right? That's where we end for today. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day or night.
Night. Bye.